He's basically a world leader now.
Yes.
Like, can we just assume?
In the film world.
Yeah.
Yeah, try not to. I really make more money as an actor. Mike, I'm selecting you for Secret Service Director.
What is that? Are they bats?
The drones!
There's been an assassination attempt on the president.
Mike Banning, you're being charged with the attempted murder of the President of the United States.
The President's top guardian angel has fallen.
This film is like a big part of your career and your legacy because it is your action trilogy.
Yeah.
You have reached that threshold of Hollywood actors who are part of big action trilogies. That's you now, man.
Yeah,
Did you ever see that coming?
No, I didn't see that coming. And it's funny, I guess it's hitting me now doing these interviews that wow, we made 3 of these because we're not Marvel. You know, we didn't have that behind us. We're not Disney. We made these movies on our own. They're independent movies, but they really caught the imagination and we've been able to run with it and always try and give everyone a kind of a fresh take.
Yeah, watching the movie, I was thinking, considering that you're a part of that group now, I couldn't help myself but wonder. I have some silly ones for you. So let's see what you think. Mike versus Jason Bourne. Who's coming out on top in that one-on-one?
Oh, that's not fair.
Sure it is. Sure it is. Totally fair.
They're both so good, just in different ways. You
Remember,
know
it's
what I
not
mean?
Gerard, it's Mike.
I think Mike, I think Jerry's got a bigger reach than Matt Damon, like a farther reach in hand-to-hand combat.
They're both good.
Oh, I don't know. Jason Bourne's a bit of a badass, but I would say that might be a draw.
Yeah.
That might be a draw. But what do you think?
I was thinking draw.
You thought draw? Okay.
They're both kind of the guys that refuse to die.
Yeah, exactly. There's
You
no
know-
killing either of them.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
They'll both be like, everything's broken, but there's still a finger like this.
Just enough to get a trigger.
Yeah. But I think they would I don't think they would fight because, you know, they both have that deeper sense of what's right. And I think you can see that when 2 great warriors stand and they know the true integrity in each other's eyes, I think they'd be like, you know what? Let's live and let live. Can't you see that I'm being set up?
You have a collect call from
Mike.
I love this film because, to me, it feels like a classic action thriller.
Right.
Something about it almost felt nostalgic, you know what I mean? I was like, wow, he's like on the run. I like read of The Fugitive.
Well, I mean, when I first read it, I was definitely like, this is a version of The Fugitive, which I thought was great. And I loved The Fugitive, and I loved the Tommy Lee Jones character, and of course Harrison Ford. And I was like, oh, I get to play a small version of like Tommy Lee Jones, you know? And so that was really exciting. I had that same nostalgic feeling reading the script as well, you know, and so that was definitely one of my draws.
That's cool that you saw that too.
I did.
You're
yeah.
right. You were like the Tommy Lee Jones character, and in the same regard, you were like, you may not have been right at first,
Right.
but you have that redemptive arc. Was you know, like you figured it all out. Was that important to you?
Yeah, it definitely was. It was one of those aspects in the story that I really enjoyed, and you know, unfortunately, she pays a price for knowing some things that she shouldn't.
You know what it reminded me of? Die Hard. Because in Die Hard, he's really worried about his wife, and they're sort of tied into the same trauma. And also, like, Danny Houston was giving me a little of that Alan Rickman feels.
Did you draw inspiration for your character from Die Hard?
Well, I mean, in Die Hard, they're divorced. And so she is not exactly as loving, maybe, as Leah Banning is to Mike. But I think that sort of tension in a marriage and still being worried about each other is something that's relatable to this movie.
Was there anything in particular that you felt like it was drawing inspiration from, or anything it reminded you of?
It reminded me, there's a lot of Bourne identity, or the Bourne movies in there, because now he's on his own, and he has to use every trick in the book, and pretty much constantly paranoid, because the whole world know, you know, they're all onto him. And also Superman 3, where Superman is now the villain and the whole world's against him. And there's that feeling with Mike where everything crashes in and nobody thinks, they all think he's a villain and not a villain in the worst way possible. So it was able to touch on a lot of movies, but not rip off any of them. It's really its own story with its own integrity and its own ideas and current themes of where we are in the world and what people of service go through. Like, it touches on that in a much deeper, more weighty way, while still having all the. In fact, we have more action now because it's not just the good guys fighting the bad guys. It's Mike fighting the good guys and the bad guys. They're all after him, so it's kind of like double the fun.
What I wanted to create was a movie of tremendous action, but also that you're emotionally attached to it, and then it felt real and it felt grounded and authentic. I think we've got into this world of visual effects with bigger, faster, more expensive, and it's how to outdo everybody. And what happens with that is sometimes we get detached to it, where we're seeing mindless stuff happen on the screen that we don't have a connection to. And when you grow up and you're in the action of the 70s and the 80s and the 90s when stunts were done for real, well, that's what we tried to bring to it, is you're seeing these guys in real action, because if they're in the middle of it, then the audience is going to have that attachment to it. So call it old school. I just call it bringing it back to realism.
Really? You're welcome. I looked at the relationship. I thought, oh, father, son. How does that? Yeah, that's what I looked at. I thought, this is brilliant. This is good to bring this in grounded in being a human. It's easy to slide off being a human being, in whatever you're doing. If you do it well, your ego can get a little funky on you. How did you find me?
I want security for the president. How do you think, Dad? I need your help.
The mid-credit scene's pretty bonkers. It's a little out there. Was there any other ideas that were thrown around before you landed on that one?
Zero gravity tanks are something that's being used in post-trauma. So no, we've always kind of had an idea of that and wanted to go that route so that it felt like it was something that would be part of the healing process, but obviously outlandish and preposterous thing for a mountain man. And I think somebody had asked me one time, they said, how hard was it to get Nick Nolte to stand there in his boxers? I said, the hard part was keeping his boxers on. But
I don't land.
We're gonna make a move. Now people are gonna fall, but not you.
Secretary of State, VP, President, God. Why is Morgan Freeman constantly being cast as these ultra-powerful people?
Well, you should ask. I would like to know.
Yes.
Why?
I think because I bought you as God. I thought you were perfect.
if you can pull that off, you can be president.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's basically a world leader now.
Yes.
Like, can we just assume?
In the film world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try not to. I really make more money as an actor.